Everybody loved Shadow of Mordor, me included. That's not exactly an unpopular opinion. It was this open world with enemies that were procedurally generated that made everything personal, and they gave a lot of characterization to the Orc, which in Lord of the Rings were basically just the bad guys. Of course, they ended up giving them so much personality that they had more personality than the humans. Plus, the ending of that game was kind of bad, because, I mean, the whole game has been about taking over the enemy's army and building your own, and then it ends with a quick time event fight. Really anticlimactic. Fortunately, they came back with Shadow of War and seemed to remedy most of those issues. The Nemesis system has been, like, completely revamped. There's more dudes, there's more variations to dudes, and there's more interactivity between them. Rather than them just doing things and then you showing up, they'll sometimes catch you. They'll grab each other and use and take hostages. They'll betray you sometimes. They'll betray each other. They'll come back from the dead, like a lot. But one thing that's kind of an issue here is that there are now 4 different maps, all with their own enemy trees, that you kind of get overwhelmed with the amount of dudes that you have to fight. It's hard for everyone to be memorable when there's this many, especially when you can quickly dispatch them, which you'll plan to do because this game has a new loot system, which serves as Talion's main way to progress his skills. Every time you kill an orc, you get some piece of gear which you can equip. And for the first half of this game, that is your primary way of getting stronger. And in fact, it's kind of the only way to get stronger because regular orcs don't give you experience anymore, which I found kind of weird and thus forced you to dodge all the regular enemies while you're just running around. But then once you gain the ability to take control of orcs, and now the game is about building up your own army, you kind of have this like player whiplash because every time you obtain an orc, you're losing that piece of gear. So the progression system that you've been trained to use is now separate than the other form of progression, being your army, that the game will eventually be forcing you into. Now, it's kind of this, you could argue that's like a resource management thing, but it just felt like a time inflating kind of deal. Especially given that other issue that I'm going to get to. You know the one. But at least the game always feels rewarding. Everything you do gives you experience, cash, a follower, a piece of gear, or if you like to play online, boxes that contain more pieces of gear. Now, I did kind of enjoy playing the online missions at first because of the simple do a mission, get a loot box reward system. And it felt really cool until I got my hands on some premium currency from a daily quest and purchased one of the premium loot boxes and found that those are objectively better than the ones that you can buy with the regular currency, which was not that great. It felt kind of gross. And so this is why I say this game is bad, because all those rewards that you can earn, with the exception of EXP, you get from playing the game, or you get from just buying the loot boxes. So basically the whole game can be completed by just buying your way through everything, especially once you get to those end game siege missions. And if you're bad at the game, you'll probably lose a lot of dudes. I mean, I don't really lose a lot of guys, but Jesus, these are big numbers. Fortunately, they actually ended the game correctly with a real boss fight and a really cool bridge sequence. But the main innovation here is the siege missions, where you get to take your forces and just raid a huge place. And thank God, as I predicted once I first saw this stuff get debuted, the final mission is a big siege mission. And I won't really go into it, but man, it felt really cool that the game's mechanics were actually used in the ending this time. I'm probably not going to complete Act 4. I was told it wasn't worth it, and I seriously doubt it will be, because this game did start to feel a bit samey by the end anyway. Siege missions are cool. Siege defenses are not really.